Right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Let's get right. Let's get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial, and this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Woo! It got real with the Epstein victims, survivors. Shout out to them. Let's get into this here.
We're covering this presentation today on Capitol Hill by survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse.
Poppy Pad in the building was good, family. Get comfortable.
This was a rare and bipartisan event. It was actually this briefing hosted by members of both parties designed to empower the actual victims so that we might hear about Epstein's crimes and what should be done from people who tragically experienced them rather than the so many other people we've heard from. And this comes after the Trump DOJ did systematically cut all of these people out of the recent changes and developments related to the case and hid key information from them. And so right off top, I want to tell you that makes today an unusual shift in this long-running story, where so often the spotlight has been on the pundits and the podcasters and the politicos and some conspiracy theorists talking on and on and on about the Epstein case, about the victims, about their supposed concern, even as, and you see our very deliberate contrast here on the screen, even as the Trump administration cuts these same people out instead of including them and hearing them and their view, the victim's view of what should be done in the quest for supposed transparency and justice. I'm joined by civil rights attorney Nancy Erica Smith. She's represented victims of sexual harassment and workplace harassment, and Michelle Goldberg, Times columnist, and MSNBC.
Shout out to Tone in the building, my G. I'm gonna get with you too, fam. Make sure we get yours to you. Let's get right.
And how is this different from what I mentioned, which is a lot of people talking about this issue and victims without hearing from them?
Well, I think that, one of the things that people have been saying about these victims, quite misleadingly, is you hear Republicans say that we can't release these files because we don't want to re-victimize these women, whereas these women are out there begging for disclosure. And I think that's something that really was why disclosure was so important to them. I mean, I knew that some of them had called for the release of these files, but there were two things in particular that they said. One was that a lot of them still, they understand that they were abused, but the circumstances around that abuse, the reason that Jeffrey Epstein was never kind of really punished for that abuse, it's as murky to them as it is to us. And so part of it is just that they very much want to know what happened. But the other thing they said is that the conspiracy theories, the energy around this case, it's like a continual torment. Mm-hmm. I think every time it's back in the news, they go to pick up their kids and they feel like people are looking at them. And they just know that this is never going to be put to bed until all the questions about it are answered. Mm-hmm. And so their only hope of closure is
Teresa in the building. Hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking in here, fam.
The judicial system is supposed to provide a special role for victims. We have victims' rights statements. We have access to any deal that's supposed to be
my G, Tone. You already know what it is, Tone.
In the context of sentencing. What is it that you see them seeking, as I mentioned, here in public to make up for what wasn't provided in the original case?
Well, they've been re-victimized and by this process of the Republicans creating this QAnon fury that the Clintons had a pedophile ring out of a pizza shop in Washington, D.C. So they were victimized when that happened. But they've been re-victimized by the lying and the covering up and the original prosecutor, as you pointed out, Acosta being in the Trump cabinet. The judicial system seemed to have worked for them briefly when we saw Epstein go to prison and Maxwell get 20 years and be convicted. And then the Republicans, again, Donald Trump specifically, and Bondi, Then they use these victims again to keep drumming up this theory that the Epstein files were going to show the Democrats were a part of a pedophile.
Right, they weaponized it
Yes.
as propaganda against their
Yes.
opponents rather than actually caring about the crimes.
Exactly, exactly. And so they've used these women. I was very struck by the fear that the women expressed. This is so brave. Most of my clients who have been abused in this way have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and reliving it really triggers PTSD. And they are forced to relive it, so at least they're trying to take control of it for themselves. So brave, but they expressed their fear. One woman said she's been followed, and I know this about other victims that wanted to come forward. It's scary for them. They're so brave, but they want to own it now since it's out there anyway. That's what I agree with Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think that just there's something so cynical, I mean, so deeply cynical about the way that this administration, on the one hand, weaponized this story to get elected, and then not only, I mean, it's worse than nothing, right? Doing nothing would be bad enough, but to actually then kind of show leniency to Maxwell, their abuser, you heard on this tape that they spoke about just how gutting it was to see that. And the other thing that struck me is that, I think when we hear Trump say this is a Democrat hoax, a lot of us assume, or at least I assume, that he was kind of talking about the idea that there are files, or maybe that he's in the files, that that's the hoax. But what they hear him saying, or at least some of them, is that you're lying, that none of this happened. And so, again, they feel like, this kind of immensely powerful person is denying, and, struggle to be believed. But to have the President of the United States say, it's a hoax, and to understand it that way has been really agonizing.
I think that's an important point you raise, especially because the normalization of Trump's failures is lowering the bar. But the president does oversee the DOJ and all federal enforcement. He claims to care about crime. These are terrible crimes. Some of them now convicted. And
CC in the building, you know what it is. Get comfortable,
what you're
fam.
describing is exactly right.
All the war fam in the building. Get comfortable, my G. You already know what it is. I appreciate
They
it.
fired the prosecutor who won this case, which in a normal DOJ is a good thing. You went after a rich, powerful person. You went after their aides, and you won the case. So I want to play, since you bring it up, what we now have, which is the interplay.
Hit that like button, subscribe, fam. We cooking.
Ms. Robson rebutting it today.
This is a Democrat hoax that never ends. It's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
I'm struck by the cruelty of him. The cruelty. A normal president would have had some empathy after those women spoke out about their child abuse. And a normal DOJ would have said, don't be afraid, we're going to keep you safe. You're safe speaking out in the United States of America.
Ooh, crazy word, boy. Actually, just for those that don't know what's going on right now, somebody in the back that's over there still, they don't even know where they tuned in to. You need to know you right here with your boy, Dilla T, and my fam. Here ain't no filter. I'm gonna tell you something right now. You need to understand something. Them women, that's something about that Epstein list, who Epstein, Trump, all these folks. Names that came up about these people. The women. So you gotta understand something. They was young. Because these powerful men and leaders and these people was putting hands on little girls. But see, those little girls then grew up to be grown women. And now they've chosen to speak up and speak out. And it take a lot. It takes some kahunas. And it take a people. And all of these women have come together. Because, see, you got to understand something. These women know who touched them. Let's not act like you don't know. You're like, hold up. It's trauma. But they know who put hands on them. They can look you in the eye, in the face, when it's trauma and say, woo, that person right there, I know. See, you ain't gonna forget trauma. You're not gonna forget abuse. You're not gonna forget. You're not gonna forget. If you was done like that as a child, now you're an adult. You ain't gonna forget. And now on Capitol Hill. And they all have a voice. And they don't care that that man, the president,
man that is being...
You understand me? Hit that like button, subscribe. It ain't got real in here. Let's go, fam. Now here we go, fam. Right now, let's go.
They are preventing the release of the full Epstein files. There is something that is rotten in Washington. Less than 1% of these files have been released. We are demanding today on the discharge petition that all of the files be released. We know we have 212 Democrats and we have 4 Republicans, courageous Republicans like Thomas Massey, Nancy Mace, who was so emotional yesterday after talking to the survivors, Congresswoman Boebert, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need just 2 more signatures to force the release. So we gather here on the steps of the Capitol to confront these corrupt forces. Today we stand with survivors. We stand against big money. We stand to protect America's children. That is really what this is about. I now want to bring up my Republican colleague, Thomas Massey. He has shown so much courage, so much leadership. And I saw some people, I say the same thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has shown so much courage on this issue. I saw some people when I was coming here calling her names. We've got to stop that. We've got to stop the partisanship on this issue. This is an issue where they both have shown real courage and leadership, and I appreciate them joining us today. Congressman Massey.
I want to thank my colleague Ro Khanna for co-leading this effort to bring transparency and justice for these victims. I hope my colleagues are watching this press conference. I want them to think, what if this was your sister? What if this was your daughter? When these survivors speak, the Washington establishment is asking the American public to believe something that is not believable. They're asking you to believe that 2 individuals created hundreds of victims and they acted alone, and that the DOJ has no idea of who else might have been involved, that nobody else did anything that rose to a criminal enterprise. The American people know that's not true. Now, the Speaker of the House just offered a fig leaf to my colleagues. They're going to vote on a non-binding resolution today that does absolutely nothing. I appreciate the efforts of my colleague James Comer, who's leading the Oversight Committee. They may find some information, but they're allowing the DOJ to curate all of the information.
Come on in the building. I hope you're getting better.
If you've looked at the pages they've released so far, they're heavily redacted. Some pages are entirely redacted. And 97% of this is already in the public domain. So I'm calling on my colleagues, be one of the next 2 who sponsors this discharge petition. I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C. So today we're standing with these survivors, we're giving them a voice, and I want to close by thanking them. They are brave. I hope they encourage other survivors to come forward and to share their stories. not just of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell, but anywhere in the country. This is a message that we are sending. This is a litmus test. Can we drain the swamp? Are there people who are outside of the reach of the law? I don't think there should be. So hopefully today we'll get 2 more signatures on the discharge petition. That's all we need. And with that, I want to introduce the bravest woman in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I find it interesting that the 3 Republican co-sponsors are women. These are women standing up for women. And Marjorie was the first to do it. And I think she deserves all of our gratitude for breaking that barrier and leading the way for the other Republicans. Hopefully they can find their spines as well. And with that, I give you Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. In fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And they have carried with them shame. But I want to say something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue it. And the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault is Israel and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us. And I want to thank Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey for doing something brave, crossing political boundaries for a very important fight. And I'm honored to join both of them.
KOD in the building, moving forward in the beat.
And Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition along with myself. And I asked my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice, transparency, and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency. And with that, I'd like to bring back Congressman Ro Khanna to start this important press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman Greene, for your courage and for being here, and thank you again to Congressman Massey for co-leading it. I now would like to introduce two people who have been fighting this for decades. They haven't had their voice heard, the victims haven't been heard. It's been on this in the last few months. They've been doing this in the wilderness for years, and they are really models of courage. Bradley Edwards and Brittany Henderson, who are the attorneys for the victims. Thank you for being here.
Hit that like button, subscribe, fam. We cooking.
Thank you, Ro and Thomas Massey. I really appreciate you putting forth this discharge petition. It's tough to understand that we have to be here because this doesn't seem like a partisan issue. This is an issue, sex trafficking and sexual abuse transcends politics. We as Americans expect equal protection under the law, and there can be no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein received far greater protection than any of the victims that he abused for years. In 2008, Courtney Wild walked into my office because she was a part of a federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, where all she wanted was the government to talk to her.
Shout out to you, Albert. I'll let you know how to get one, fam. You get your shirt too, fam. Let me know. Don't forget about the raffle. Let's get right in here right now. Hey, let's get right. The $2 No Filters giveaway raffle is going on right now. We're going to announce one female, one male. September 30th. Going on. You can win one of these shirts or even that hat. You understand? We got it going right now. You already know the store up and running too, fam. If you want to tap in and show your love and support, you see the store, No Filters, store in the building. But again, $2 raffles pinned in the chat. Cash App, family. You already know No Filters Cash App, man. Put your $2 in. Let's keep it going. You're going to be in the raffle. We will shuffle. You will see it live right here with your boy T and my fam. And No Filters. Hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking, fam. Let's go. If you don't know what's going on, all of these women right here used to be little girls. You hear me, Albert? I appreciate your family support. All of these women right here used to be little girls. And now they got older. Now that they older, they got a voice and they speaking up. And they done went to Capitol Hill with no regard to who the president is because his name been involved with Epstein. And all of them saying and claiming that they all are victims. So they chose to go to Capitol Hill and hold a press conference right there. And that's what we're looking at right now, fam. You understand? You get older and you learn something, you end up giving a voice. Because when you're young, you don't know what to do. But you know you never forget what you see. Because you know if it look like a duck and if it quack like one, what is it? It don't matter what age you are. You know what you see. And now they older. And now they got a voice. You know what you seen. And now you got a voice. Because you done got older. And this is over for whoever done did wrong by them women. You hear me? You better hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking in here Monday through Friday. Boy, my blood pressure early.
To prove that Jeffrey Epstein worked out an illegal non-prosecution agreement with the government. That was 2008. It took us 10 years battling the government pro bono for the judge to ultimately determine that the victims' rights were violated. The government has mistreated them after Jeffrey Epstein mistreated them. We then filed civil lawsuits against Ghislaine Maxwell, which has resulted in her being in prison. Our civil lawsuits led to her prosecution. We filed lawsuits against Jeffrey Epstein, against his estate, and against two financial institutions, JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, that proved that they knowingly provided the financial infrastructure for a sex trafficking operation. Unfortunately, all of the evidence that we have worked so hard to gather hide behind protective orders, confidentiality agreements, and bank secrecy laws. That is why this discharge petition is so important. While we have seen the documents, you haven't. And when you see the documents, you're going to be appalled. And the American people deserve to see everything. When you sign this discharge petition, It should mean nothing is off limits. That means the documents in the possession of the CIA should be made available. Those in possession of the FBI going back decades should be made available. The SEC, financial records in the possession of FinCEN should be made available. Everybody knows evil flourishes in the darkness. Corruption flourishes in secrecy. It is time, right now, to make a difference for the women that are behind me right now. They have been courageous and fought through this whole thing. Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, this one is an easy call. You're an American who cares about equal rights and equal protection under the law. If you care about these women, if you care about our country, and you care about this issue, this should pass with flying colors. I really appreciate everybody being here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brittany Henderson, and I think in addition to thanking the wonderful congressmen and women who are here today, we need to thank the women, and not just the women who are going to speak, but the other women who are standing behind them, along with other lawyers, Sigrid McCauley, and people who have been fighting for a very, very long time for the world to give this kind of attention to an issue that it should have had forever. This administration has the opportunity to do what the past administrations did not do. This administration can either stand with the victims and stand for the victims, or it can continue to hurt the victims like has happened in the past. We aren't here just to ask for transparency though, we're here too to ask for protection. The women here represent hundreds of other women who we have spoken to, many of whom were trafficked from other countries, from Eastern European countries where women don't have the rights that we have here. Women don't have the protections that we have here. And those women are terrified that their names will be released in these files. The government won't know that they're victims to redact and protect them. So we ask that you please, whoever is going to be in charge of redacting these files and in charge of this transparency, do it in a way that protects the women brave enough to be here, but also protects the women who are terrified that every day when they turn the TV on, something bad is going to happen to them in Ukraine, in Russia, in whatever country they live in, because no one is listening to them there. So thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and please protect these women while we seek transparency.
Shout out to Tom with the $10 donation in the super chat.
My name is
always, my dog. I appreciate you so much, man.
Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massey and Kana for this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage, the sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. Equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery.
Skip in the building, what's up with you? Get comfortable. I appreciate you pulling up, fam.
That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations, flight logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. But transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with
Tice in the building. I appreciate you, family. Hit that like button, subscribe, we're cooking.
Complex systems and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access.
The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child. These are not numbers, they are people. They are your daughters, your sons, your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare. Days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely. And I ask Congress to join me in that effort, not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done. When Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance to finally speak, the world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic, and so is this moment. The turning point was when I had my daughter, and on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her.
Really appreciate you, Albert. You know it's love, my dog. I'm here Monday through Friday with my fam. And you, my G family.
The voice
No
that has
filter.
been silenced by fear and shame for so many years.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and we cook it.
Mistake. My polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse.
Do you see how she talking, fam? No, hear me, Albert. Hear me, fam. You see how she talking? Now, hold up real quick. Albert said, protect the women and demand justice for the survivors. Respect. Moving forward said, how do you demand without fear? Shout out to you moving forward. How do you demand without fear? Adrian in the building, I see you. How do you demand without fear? Because they grew up, fam. And you got to understand the things that you go through has to build you. Build the foundation. Has to build the kahunas for you to stand on business because of what you've been through. That's how fear is not. And then also too, man, let me tell you something about, man. Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something about fear, man. Tell you something about fear. Tell you something about fear. Fear is not of God. Anytime you feel fear, that ain't you. That's some fit. That is something coming over you that's not real. Because God ain't giving us the spirit of fear. You understand? Because you got to understand, we're living in a world of spiritual warfare. And because God didn't give us the spirit of fear, that's a demonic thing. That's something of not of God. That's something that's not of us. Roxanne in the building, you already know what it is. So the moment you feel in fear, you got to start calling on God. Jesus, hold up, Lord. Some ain't right. Niggas is focused, pulling up. Some ain't right. I'm feeling some. This ain't, I don't supposed to be feeling this. This ain't normal. This ain't of you. This ain't of me. But when you go through something, it builds you up to become unstoppable, unbreakable. People ain't going through nothing out here. So they don't know what to do when they come across a situation. They instantly get the spirit of fear. Because that's a spirit. That ain't just a thing. It's a spirit. Just like the spirit of joy, happiness, laughter, sad. All spirits. And it's all warfare. So what we're talking about here, fam, is understanding. Fam said, how do you move forward? By being feared. How do you demand without fear? It's a way to talk. It's a way to go about things. You see what they doing right now? This is a press conference at Capitol Hill. That's how you go about it with no fear. You understand? You get the people that have a voice. They can hear you in bunches. See, they hear her voice, but yet they hear us when we all together. They never heard nobody alone, but they can hear us when we together. I'm going to say that again. You better go tell somebody right now. They can't hear you by yourself. They got to hear us together. Because if they don't hear you. They don't see you. You come in here right now and tell us what you saying right now. Francie, back in the building, fam, where you been. Get comfortable. I appreciate you. They don't hear you. They don't see you. But they hear us. They see us. That is the situation tonight. That is this right here in your face. That is us, no filters, with my fam and Dealatofficial. Hit that like button, subscribe, because we cooking in her.
And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing. You have a choice. Stand with the truth, or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. I am no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be.
Like, you hear this? Listen to her. Look at her. Look at her. This is real, fam. Look at her. Look at her voice. Her voice. One of them English girls over there, Australian. She's no longer weak. I'm no longer emotional. I'm just no longer. I'm no longer in these things. I'm no longer. Like, I believe her, fam. Like, they was over there dealing with chicks that was over there. Like, European area. Great Britain. Australia. I mean, like, the Netherlands. What? She like, I'm no longer weak. I'm no longer emotional. No, nothing can hold me. Nobody can save you. I believe her. She was a young buck in a situation being used, abused. And now she's grown up telling you she's no longer weak. And I say that with that voice because these are the type of people they was touching, fam. What? Let me say that again for the people in the back. She grew up. She got a voice now. Shout out to Sharita in the building. I appreciate you pulling up. Hit that like button, subscribe, because we cooking. Let's go, fam.
Influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us. Because we need it now, and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Andy Farmer, and I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assaults at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figure painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds, if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the systems meant to protect us recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors of them. For so many years, it felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret. Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so. They wanted access to his circle and his money. Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated. I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case who've expressed their solidarity with us. And I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way. From my conversations with women in these last few days, and from all of the support that we've received, it's very clear to me that we are not going away, and we are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up. And I ask the American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege and one for everyone else, passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators. A thorough public review of this information is an important step in preventing the type of systemic failures that have occurred in this case and harmed all of us. An important step towards healing for those involved. Thank you.
You see what she just said, fam? Hit that like button, subscribe, family. We cooking.
Thank you everyone for being here today on this
Here go another one.
Powerful and special day for all of us here. My name is Marina Lacerda. I was minor victim 1 in federal indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in New York in 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. I never thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice.
She from Brazil, fam. Brazil. Brazil. That means the money is, yeah.
For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was old. There are many pieces of my story that I can remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself, but it's so hard to begin to heal, knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal. They have documents with my name on them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together. But I don't have any of it. And I know the same is true for many of these women. We are here to support this bill today, not only for transparency, but for the American people. But if the government is going to release these documents to the public, describing the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and others, the least that they can do is give me my documents that they have about me. The other survivors deserve the same respect from our government. While identifying information must be redacted to the public, it is equally important to provide the victims themselves with unredacted information. I will never forget when the FBI agent showed up in my door in 2008. Jeffrey Epstein hired a lawyer to represent me, or more like to represent him, I'd like to say. I couldn't ask any questions, and I had no idea what was going on. I was terrified. Until today, I think most of us are still terrified. I thought somebody was going to kill me. I thought something was going to happen to my sister or my mother. It went further out to even maybe thinking something would happen in Brazil with my family. And then one day, the lawyer said that everything was just going to go away. Like nothing happened. I didn't need to testify. When I asked him why, he gave no explanation. That was it. So why? Why was I never called to testify then? We could have saved so many women. We could have saved so many lives from being abused. Why did he get away with it in 2008? Why was he able to go on in the abuse with hundreds of girls after the Florida investigation? Why didn't they let me testify to help stop him? Our government could have saved so many women. But Jeffrey Epstein was too important, and those women didn't matter. Why? Well, we matter now. We are here today, and we are speaking, and we are not going to stop speaking. Today, I stand here with the women who have really helped me to find the strength to come out and come forward to share my story for the very first time. Together, we are stronger than ever. While she may not be with us, Virginia Roberts, we will continue to use our voices to strengthen yours always. Thank you.
Another.
Hi, my name is Courtney Wild. I just wanted to take a second and just have a moment of silence for all the women survivors that aren't here with us today, that passed away due to anxiety, depression, trying to keep up with this case. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. My name is Courtney Wild. I was only 14 years old when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by a 13-year-old friend of mine. The details of the abuse that he inflicted on me for years is not important today.
All right, Tone, let's get right. Let's get right.
I was cooperating with the federal government and the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. They sent me a letter telling me to be patient because this was going to be a lengthy investigation, but at the same time, they refused to talk to me and tell me what was going on. So I hired an attorney, Brad Edwards, because I was hopeful to get some answers. When I walked into his office at 19 years old, Brad sued the government for refusing to tell me what was going on under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. The only reason anyone ever found out that the government had already given Jeffrey Epstein immunity through the non-prosecution agreement was because our lawsuit forced the government to tell us. Otherwise, nobody would even know that today. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I had to sue the United States just to learn that my abuser was given immunity. I started as Jane Doe, but I decided I was proud enough to take on our country, and I was on the right side of history. We fought the government for 10 years to prove that the government violated our rights as crime victims and the crime victims' rights in order to protect a pedophile. We had to win
Ashley in the building, this is terrible.
to force the government to turn over thousands of pages of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Those emails provided the proof that the government worked very hard with Jeffrey Epstein to violate our rights. Why? Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent friends? Why was Jeffrey so important to the government, and why was I so insignificant? Why did nobody but our lawyers care before now? It seems people have only started to care because of Twitter and politics. But I would like to say this has nothing to do with politics. This is not a blue thing or a red thing. This is an everyone thing. We can all agree on this. The injustice that has happened here. Multiple, over and over. Everybody that talks about this just seems to make it worse. We need transparency. It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected? And who protected them all, so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long. I was lucky to have Brad Edwards, Brittany Henderson, and Paul Cassell take on my case pro bono and fight fearlessly over years' time. I would like to thank them, and I'd also like to ask
shout out to Anonymous girl in the building.
Sign off on the Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act, the Courtney Wild Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act that's we're trying to get passed here.
KC Queen in the building.
In the CVRA case.
Appreciate you. Hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking in here.
To get away with this. Thank you so much.
Good morning. First and foremost, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to Brad and Brittany Edwards, Congressman Massey and Kana, and above all, the brave survivors who have entrusted us with the privilege of speaking today on behalf of Virginia. Roberts Giuffre, as her family. We are here today because we support H.Res.581, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in its entirety. But as much as this bill is about shining a light on truth, it's not just about the bill. This is about justice. This is about survivors. This is about justice against the rich and powerful who have stolen something from these women and many children at the time, their freedom. The freedom to live their life without mental and physical scars that have been inflicted upon them by those who thought they were untouchable. The same freedom that these monsters took from these survivors, they should never be afforded. They should never be allowed to continue their lives with impunity. Let's be clear, this is not a political issue. This is not about left or right. This is about humanity. This is about doing what's right. And this is about ensuring that the future we leave behind isn't one where the powerful can hide behind their wealth, their influence, and their money to evade justice. Our plea to you, whether you're a dad, a mom, a brother, or a sister, look your young ones in the face. Look them in the eye and tell them you didn't stand against the very people who raped, molested, and preyed upon children and young women. Tell them you are willing to negotiate a deal. Money should never be what makes something right or wrong. If you vote no, your stance will be clear. You will be choosing to stand on the side of the rich and powerful, allowing money to buy your way out of the consequence. But here's my one ask. Look these survivors in the eye and tell them why. Then, look the people of the United States in the eye and tell them why. And then, when you're alone, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why. Virginia said it best, and I quote, "I have physical and mental scars that will never heal. I have memories that will never go away. They say time can heal, but this won't. Not until the justice system makes an example out of these people with so-called privileges. I just call it money. The only time I can begin to heal is when their freedom is taken from them, just like they did to me and literally thousands of other victims. The survivors of this horrific abuse are watching. The American people are watching. And history is watching. Which side will you be on?" Thank you.
You can't tell me you don't feel no type of way with that right there. That man said he's standing right there for his family member that's gone. Trump said this is all a hoax. We gonna be here to we gonna be right here when this comes out real for Trump. We gonna all be right here because you gotta understand, he's the president of the United States. So they're gonna let this ride out as long as possible until they can ride the air out of this. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They're going to let this ride out till they literally seep the air out of this situation. Because what they trying to tell these women is keep coming. And what these women are telling them is that we're going to keep coming. Because now they want to make their own list. And see, United States or the world gonna call it unofficial because the White House didn't drop it. But these are the victims of young girls when they was young that seen grown men. They seen addresses and all of that. What I want to know is, what the hell was they mamas and they daddies when this was going on? Huh? See, you ain't hear me saying that. See, we here at No Filters. This Dealatofficial. This my fam. We don't care nothing about none of that. Where was your mamas and your daddies when this was going on? All of a sudden, y'all got a voice today, but your mama and your daddy was there then. Huh? See, y'all know. See, that's why we family. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to say what you be thinking. I'm going to say what you know. Why? Because we come from the same place. Street code. Live by, die by. I come from when good was good and bad is bad. Now we living in a time where good is looked at as bad and bad is looked at as good. We will not allow it. Where was they mamas and your daddies when it was going down? And how was you able to, and then what I don't understand is, if you was getting touched on and you came home and told your mama and your dad, they sent you back outside to be touched again? Or you never said nothing because you liked it? Or you never did nothing because you kept allowing it? I want to know. You better shut it up in here if you don't get what I'm saying. What was your mom and your daddy's? Hit that like button and subscribe, because we cooking for real. They don't get no pass. Where was your mom and your dad? All these women up here. Look at all these women. Where was your mamas and your dad?
My name is Lisa Jones, and I was only 14 years old when my friend...
14? Where was your mom and your dad?
...house in Palm Beach in 2003. I had a terrible home life, but I was such
See, hold on. See, now I believe her. You heard that? She said, I had a terrible home life. She the only one that got up here and said, I had a terrible home life. I want to know, what was your mom and your daddy? Said, see, now, it's like, if you had a terrible home life, then that means your mom and your daddy probably wasn't around. Or your mom and your daddy went over here. But what I'm trying to figure out is, how did a billionaire, because I tell you, it's a difference, millionaire, trillionaire, billionaire, gazillionaire, cajillionaire. All right? If you had a poor living coming up and your mama wasn't around, sue in the building, you know what it is. Hit that like button, subscribe. If your mama wasn't around and you had a poor living, how did billionaires find you? I'll wait. So if you had a poor living and coming up, where was you at for a billionaire to come across you? Because in my mind, when they talked about certain girls, they spoke about Jeffrey Epstein going after girls that less fortunate, basically poor, didn't have much, and needed help. So in my mind, this is the only girl that said her coming up in the world was rough. Meaning she might have been poor or her mother and daddy might not have been around. Point I'm making is, these girls, or this particular girl, didn't go find Epstein. This was a situation where Epstein and them went and found her. Because you have other girls that literally worked at Trump's estate, Mar-a-Lago. So that means that if they had a job at Mar-a-Lago, your mom and daddy had some money. That means they had money for you to even work in Trump's estate. How did you get a job at Trump's estate? And if Trump, Epstein, or anybody came across you that said they put their hands on you, somebody and some people been sweeping that under the rug. Because this girl claimed she was poor. But the other girl that was working in Mar-a-Lago was not poor. Because ain't no poor girl finna just be stumbling up on no job at Mar-a-Lago. Unless she was a target. Poor people just ain't stumbling up on them type of jobs. And if they walk into that job, they probably gonna be a janitor or something less value because of the person you are. You're coming in of less value, so they're gonna give you a position that really is nothing. But yet you're a good girl, but you're a girl. So you have to understand and separate the two. Where was they mamas and daddies for those that work with billionaires in their buildings? And where was the mom and daddies for those like her that didn't have no money for real? Hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking in her. I want to know where your mom and daddies was.
Then.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jenna Jones, and I was only 14 years old when my friend brought me over to Jeffrey Epstein's house in Palm Beach.
Her
in
friend.
2003.
What's her friend name?
I had a terrible home life, but I was such an innocent kid then. I always did my best in school, and I had such a positive outlook on life. Until that day that I met Jeffrey, I have never been more scared in my life than I was that first time that he hurt me. I remember crying the entire way home, thinking about how I couldn't ever tell anyone about what actually happened in that house. This guy was so rich and had so many pictures with so many famous people, and no one would have ever believed me if I told them. I want to thank Congressman Rowe and Congressman Thomas Massey for having me here today. It was really hard for me to find my voice and to become strong enough to speak about my abuse. I didn't come forward until 2019, and even then it was like I was afraid of a ghost. I know that I was just a little kid, but sometimes I still feel like it is my fault that this happened. Being given the opportunity to speak at the United States Capitol building about something that is so important, not just to me and the women before you, but to the entire country. Together, we can finally make a change, and that is thanks to the people like these two congressmen and their teams who actually care about the victims. If you are a member of Congress and you are listening to all of us speak here today, please really listen to us. Please vote for this bill to be passed. Please recognize how important it is for transparency relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, this does not matter. This is not about sides. You are an American, and you are a person who has chosen to serve in an elected position to stand up for those you represent who cannot always stand up for themselves. We are those people. We are the Americans that you promised.
20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. 20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. But what high school girl would not want to do that? Forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein undressed and asked me to do to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life. When it was over, he paid me $200 and requested in exchange that I bring a girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage, and I will give you $200 per girl.
Where your mom and your daddy at? Letting you go over their house. How did you get to their house? How many times was you at their house? How long was you at their house? And how your mom and daddy didn't know your location? See, back in that day, it wasn't no location on no phone because there wasn't no cell phones like that. You understand? So that means, see, in my hood, in our lives, and where I come from, it wasn't about no phone and no location. It was about where you going, what you want to do. Okay, well, I need to know your they mama number and they daddy number. If that's what you talking about, I need to talk to everybody in their damn family if you want to go. You understand me? That's where I come from. I come from, mama want to talk to everybody. Everybody. It was a blessing that she'll talk to the mother, but I'm telling you, that was the time we was in. That was the time we was living in. That was the time I come from. That was the protection love that was inherited in my backyard. Now, in yours, I can't really speak for you. But I know something ain't right. K. Marie Hart in the building. You already know what it is. Hit that like button, subscribe, family. We heard. Smart boy in the building. We heard. You understand what I'm saying, Skeptic? These are times I was knowing that our lives was not the same as what it was. And now that we're looking at how life is today, I can tell even more right now that thoroughly they ain't even checking on kids, and they got type of phones or locations and all of this, and they got these, you can put some type of air tag on the key. I'm trying to tell you what's going on today. So I don't want to hear no excuses. Because we're here to inform, understand, and be aware of what's going on each and every day. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy Dilla T and my fam. Here at No Filters. No, we're not doing that. Back then, I need to know, meet your mama. So I want to know, where was your mama at if y'all got all this explaining y'all doing in these letters y'all reading and all of this extra curriculum? Where was your mama and your daddies, and did they know you was there? And if they did, then that means someone right. Because this means that the first time y'all pulled up and something happened wrong, sexually harassed, touched wrong, talked to differently, anything that seemed weird, y'all didn't say nothing to your mama and daddy. And see, she said anything that a high school girl would have wanted, to be able to talk to an older man. I don't know. Is that what women was on? Or high school girls want to talk to older men? That's what you women was liking at that time? Let me know. But I know if that was the case, you had to have time to be able to go to and from to that older man. And if that's the case, and you had a daddy in your house, where was your daddy at? And I know he wanted to know. Or some people daddies wasn't around. Just your mother. But if you had a mother like mine, they want to know, where you going and what you say? I need to talk to your mom, to the mom and daddy or whoever house you going to. Because I need to know that you're there when I ask and that I want to hear your voice. That's the difference between my day and their day today. Hit that like button, subscribe, family. We cooking, you know what it is.
For each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go.
Go in the building.
I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused, I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time.
She just said because she didn't want to get in trouble, she started just taking girls to this man. So she inviting other people's daughters so she get a pass. She should be locked up like the Maxwell girl. You was taking chicks to the chicks over there, and you was taking friends over there, and ain't nobody doing damage. You should be locked up like old girl that was grooming the chicks. Because you steady taking girls, and all you had to do was say, daddy, mama, auntie, grandma, cousin, brother, sister. I just went to a man's house. My bad, I don't even know how I got there, because they gonna ask how you even get to his house. I just came into this man's house, and he just tried to touch me. And now I feel threatened that if I don't go back, he gonna beat me up. So I gotta take other girls too. You better shut it up in here. This is where the janky come into play right now. See, these is victims up here, but see, this shit right here that I'm listening to right now, I want to hear that. No. What? You started taking other innocent girls, and you knew what was going on, and all you had to do was open up your mouth and tell some grown up what was going on? You better shut the fuck up. This one should be locked up. This one should be. I'm talking about long-winded smacks back and forth. You hear me? You hear me, Tom? She took money in the process and invited innocent girls to the men's houses. You better write down her name. She should be cooked right now. You hear me? And ain't nobody even paying attention. See, this is the shit I be talking about right here. Ain't nobody even paying attention to what she did. She invited innocent girls over there because she said she didn't want to be a victim no more and was scared. But yet you invited them and took money from him. You shut the fuck. This is what I'm talking about. Going on right in your damn face and ain't saying nothing. This lady is on Capitol Hill telling you she invited other girls and they got raped. And she was paid to let it happen so she don't be raped. And everybody behind her is sitting there doing nothing. If I was a cameraman, I would have been with my camera. I'd have been holding it. I'd be like, okay. And she'd be like, you know, I was too one of the victims. Matter of fact, let me play it how I knew I would have been. Let me tell you how I would have been.
And
I'm the cameraman.
For each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused, I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200. $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time.
I'm the cameraman. You just heard it? I'd have just took the camera and just threw it at her. And I had to just look like, I would have had to just realize I just threw my whole damn camera at her and every girl in the back of her. So that means I would have threw the camera at her like a bowling ball and I would have knocked down every pin that got a strike. Because damn it, she would have got no more strikes after that. You heard me? That's your first and last strike telling me that you invited innocent girls to that man's house to be raped. And you got paid for that. And you didn't do nothing about it. And you telling the world right now in front of everybody. And ain't nobody saying nothing. If I was the reporter, I'd be like, yeah, you heard it? If I was the reporter,
and I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt I want to do that. That day changed my life forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein undressed and asked me to do things to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life. When it was over, he paid me $200 and requested in exchange that I bring a girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage.
Oh, wow.
And I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused, I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200. $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time.
you did what? I would have took my microphone. I would have lined up. I would have took my microphone. First of all, I would have touched, the cameraman. I would have touched his shoulder and tapped him on the shoulder like, did you just hear that shit? Did you heard what I heard, didn't you? I would have tapped the cameraman and said, you heard what I just heard? Did you hear what I just heard? And the cameraman, I'm holding it like, yeah, I heard what you heard. I would have lined my microphone up with her face and forehead and that vein that you get going down, I would have lined my microphone up with her face. And I don't care how far back I was. You hear me? I would have threw this like a ninja star. You hear me right now? Like a ninja star right at her for telling me that you just let these women throw their lives away and you just got paid $200 every time. And ain't nobody in the damn audience saying nothing. But it's funny how Dealatofficial and my fam here at No Filters is speaking up about something that we put on when we see it, if we know of it, look like a duck, quack like a duck. Damn it, it's a. Because we are to inform, understand, and be aware. So I know I ain't tripping if I just heard this woman tell me she just let other innocent women go to this man to save her own life when all she had to do was go to the police, tell her family members, or tell the news. But she chose to do this. She chose to do this, fam. I can't believe the life we living in. I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Hit that like button, subscribe, family. We cooking!
It would be the last time. One day, the stepmom of one of the girls brought him and called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. The police then called me in for questioning. I had told them the truth despite the fact that I was a teenager and a minor, and I was able to tell the police the names of all the other victims.
187 King in the building, my G, my dog. How you been, family?
I turned 18. I had been with Jeffrey since I was 16 and for 2 years. So they had told me so they told me I was going to be arrested. My name was then distributed to the press as a co-conspirator of my abuser, who I detested. My entire world was crashing in around me, and I started being threatened and bullied, till this day still receiving death threats. I was singled out and for many years had to suffer a smear campaign of lies about me because of the way that I was portrayed by the press. The press made me out to be a predator when I was just a 16-year-old little girl who was sexually abused by a powerful man and an evil man.
This real time, we appreciate it. Make sure they hit that like button and subscribe, because we be cooking.
Investigators learned that I was truly a victim, but the damage was done and it was too late. There was no way to undo the harm the press had caused me.
I got you, smart boy.
In 2019, I met Brad and Brittany.
We just give them a little entertainment so they understand what they're dealing with. But make sure they hit that like button, subscribe, family, because we cooking, man. That's real talk.
And it helped me to finally heal. Healing is a process, and I may never get there. But the passage of this bill requiring the government to produce all the evidence that it has gathered on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a huge component of healing for me and for the many other women who have suffered for so long.
Coffee grind concept in the building with Crystal. I appreciate you, family. Hit that like button, subscribe. We ain't worried about no haters. We appreciate them all. Thank you so much. Hit that like button, subscribe. We cooking!
Thousands of dollars a day paying high school girls he abuses and other access to, and had a lot of access to cash. I learned through my attorneys in the JP Morgan class action case that there were years when his staff withdrew over $1 million in cash a year. Was that not a big enough red flag? There were wire transfers to other victims, and the government did not protect us. The banks did not protect us. So lift the curtain on these files and be transparent.
Shout out, coffee, subscribe, and you know, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. And become a member. I got you, family. We cooking up.
Who was on the Epstein client list? And there are names going around on TikTok and Instagram. We, the survivors, are suffering.
Hold up. Let's get order here. Hey, Doe. What's your name, Doe? Watch your mouth. I just want to make sure we got order in here, because I heard something about my fam. Okay, let's make sure we all family in here. Understand, we all family in here when you pull up. But we will address what needs to be addressed accordingly. Respect is demanded in my house with my family. Let's make sure we have it because there's love here, family. But if it's not, I need to know so we know how to act accordingly and we get active in here. Watch your mouth when y'all talking to my fam, man. Walks in the building. Get right. Get right.
We take our kids to school and everyone is talking about it. We can't read the news or do anything without hearing crazy stories that are only able to live on because the government continues to hide the evidence and the truth. So people just make up stories. Those stories hurt. They hurt real people who have already been hurt. And we have lost so many Epstein victims to suicide, and maintaining the real truth and secrecy only allows for conspiracy theorists to tell lies.
Hey man, hold on, Dirt. What you on, Dirt? Is that what you on, Dirt? That's how you come? What you talking about, man? Putting hands on something? What you talking about, Dirt? Hey, Doe, what you on, man? Now talk to me, man. Now talk to me. What you on, man? You in my house talking about hands and shit. What you talking about, fam? Huh? Now I need to know what you on, my G, because you coming in here with all this and that, and you talking to the wrong tone. What we talking about, Dirt? I can't hear you. Hold on, let me shut something down right quick, because I think people don't think what's going on right here. Let's get right quick. Let's get right now, because I see let's get right. Let's get right. Let me, what's what right here? What we doing? What we doing? Let's get right, fam. Because I need to know what's up. There's a lot of mouth in here right now, like y'all don't get what's going on. You feel me, fam? So let's get right. I just want to know.
Is that drives up our anxiety and fears and will continue to lead to more pain, more suffering, and honestly, more deaths of innocent victims. It's time to do is right by us. Unseal all the documents. We are requesting transparency, and I am requesting every congressman that goes against this bill be outed. I want to know. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on
hit that like button, subscribe, family. We cooking.
Who I saw and what I experienced there was a
Hey, yo, Doe, I'm trying to give you a, hey, man. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest. If we was face to face, and you was talking to my fam like that, it'd be on sight, my nigga. You heard me? Watch your mouth. Because if I'd have told you to watch your mouth and you'd have kept going, and you talking to my fam and we was face to face, we'd have dealt with you right there. We face to face. But this different. I told you to watch your mouth and chill out, and you steady going. But again, physically, that wouldn't be that, my G. You understand? Because if I tell somebody watch their mouth, they're going to watch it. And if you feel like you're not, that's would have been respect. Oh, no, this was a meeting about fam understanding what's going on in the world. This ain't about revolution. Marcus in the building said, what'd he say? Well, who say? Ill will show you. I appreciate you pulling up, partner. I refer more as my G in the building all the way from Jamaica. My dog, what's up with you? Marcus Swag, what who say? And Doe said, I thought he was meeting about revolution. And this stupid motherfucker was in there talking like he had balls. What are you doing? You niggas bored or something? What's wrong? And then you had the nerve to talk to my fam like you knew where you was at. Ain't nobody gonna block you. Ain't nobody gonna shut you down. I'm gonna just tell you, watch your mouth and respect us like we respect you. But if you don't have it, let me know. Okay, you heard me, Doe? Address me. Hit that like button, subscribe, fam.
Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my
Weird fool in the building
before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000,
oh no,
Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, my nigga.
Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world.
Wise fool in the building, hit that like button, subscribe, family, we cooking.
But he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen.
I feel you, smart boy, but we gotta get them all in line when they want to line up.
Of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator. He was an international.
Now, what's funny about this woman right here, she started her presser off with promoting her podcast. She started it off with promoting her podcast, fam. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that's funny work.
Phillips, and I'm the host of an award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors?
Walt in the building.
And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the name. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know, who are regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors.
Smart boy, you family, my G. Hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. We cook for real. You can win a shirt, my G. You know it's real. We do a lot in here. We all let. Sue Johnson in the building, Sue. I see you.
Hello, my name is Shantae Dees, and I'm here before you today as a survivor of decades of pain, the trauma, and betrayal at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and the people who enabled them, and a government that for far too long refused to help. In 2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress.
Oh no, this ain't no Current house. It's Dealatofficial house. It's no filters house with my fam, though. Try to get you to understand respectfully, G. When you come in the way you coming, it's different. We want to make sure we respect everybody. So when you offend, we got to defend. And that's what the level is right now. So we just want to be clear on what's going on so we make sure that we all fam. Because again, like I say, we want to make sure we all fam. That's why we're here. Giving you a voice and freedom to speak and breathe. That's the whole point, G. It ain't none of that's in this. And see how I'm taking time out of my platform with my family to address you? So you know the respect is mutual. I hope. Because I'm doing this right now. So let's make sure that's what matters to me. That we all fam, that we subscribe, and we make sure that we stay in place. Because at the end of the day, we here to inform, understand, and be aware. That if it walk like a duck, quack like one, we know what it is. And yet we're going to say it for the people in the back. We fam in the building. And if we don't get that, we need to separate the real ones from the fake ones. That's all we doing. We got to separate the real ones from the fake ones. People come in talking a lot. People come in saying more than what you expect. And when you come in sounding like goofies, we think you're goofy. But if you're not, it's all good. Ain't no pressure. We just want to make sure there's no disrespect. So again, are we fam or are we not? So we can make sure we keeping it going. Hit that like button, subscribe, because we cooking regardless.
I'm beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the
Bruce in the building.
Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began.
Oh shit, this stupid motherfucker just said a bunch of male Karens in here. My bad, Tone. My bad, Skeptic. My bad. I should have been already this stupid dumb. Stupid. Trying to give people a chance. And they dumb. My bad, fam. For the disruption. And the energy shift. Try to give people a chance to live their life. But you gotta give them a rope to hang theyself.
He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo.
That's what I did.
I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And what I endured,
you put your eyes on and your ears and your brain,
every day with PTSD.
and you know who lurking. We appreciate them laying on us, because they better hit that like button and subscribe. But they want to play with us, we gonna get rid of. And we're going to give them rope to hang themselves to die.
Unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again. There are files, government files, that
we appreciate
about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long.
But we ain't got no room for that. We got to make room for people that matter what we doing.
When so many others played a role.
We ain't got no room for
Why does
that.
the government hide this information from the public?
We appreciate it, but we ain't got no room.
This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach. That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention. It will help protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about families broken and the future stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress.
Where you been, PHUKIT?
Sexual abuse and assault.
Hit that like button, subscribe.
Let the public know the truth.
Everybody in here right now, subscribe right now. Hit that like button right now and subscribe right now. Yeah, you. Stop what you're doing. Because see, you know what I've learned? People will pay attention to what the content is and what's going on. Toy 45, where you been, fam? Been waiting on you. Get comfortable. People will hit that. People will hit the button and just watch. But they won't like and subscribe so they can keep and stay. Hit that like button, subscribe. And when you subscribe and you see that notification bell, hit all. Hit the bell and then hit all. I'm sorry that it sounds so black and white, little kiddish. But we literally, as a people, we'll start watching something and don't even trip off what we're looking at. And still don't like and subscribe. And we love the content. We want to stay. We want to do it again. But we never hit the like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to hit all. Because if you want to stay with your boy Dilla T and my fam, you got to hit all. P. You know what your name is. That's what I'm going to say to you, fam. I'm going to say, you know what your name is. Shout out to you know what your name is. My G, you ain't missed nothing, but I'm going to tell you what's going on. The women that survived the Epstein file list, they want to come out, and they've come out with their own press conference on Capitol Hill, saying that they're going to drop a list of men that they seen touching them when they were young kids. That's what's real. And they don't want to official list because it's not coming from government or the White House or Trump. But these women are women that knew the men that put their hands on them. And they're coming out with a list. That's what's going on. That's what's real. And kudos to them, respectful to them, because they saying, hey, y'all don't want to release these guys, but we don't need y'all to release these guys. We know who put their hands on us. We know who was in the room with us at late night hours. We know who was doing us wrong. We know who was sexually harassing us. We know who groomed us. We know the women that helped these guys. They know. So because of that, that is what's real. That is the situation. When you wake up tomorrow, you might find out about a list that's put out there right now that you can read off of, that we all can confirm. See, we all feel like we all have the same list, same names. But it's always got to be allegedly or confirmed. Shout out to JJ in the building. Let's hit that like button and subscribe. We cooking.
The future if we refuse to confront the past. Thank you.
Shout out to you, JJ, within you too, and I appreciate you, family. It's real.
Just give a round of applause for all the courage and strength that we now will take a few
Sue
questions.
Johnson, I appreciate you, Sue. Hit that like button, subscribe, family. You're here with me.
Congresswoman Green, in the hallways and other places, if you have questions for us, that's fine. But I wanted to see first if you have questions for the lawyers and the survivors, and Brad will facilitate any of the questions to the survivors. Yes.
Yeah. This question would be for the survivors. The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, the word that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
You know what's real, Tone. You fam.
Donald J. Trump.
Hear me now. You fam. I'm trying to tell you, you don't understand. I'm trying to tell you something, Tone. Listen to me, Tone. Get right, get right. You fam. You see how they coming at me? But you fam. You taking them hits too. Each and every one of my fam gonna take them hits because you pick a side and you chose a side. You chose Dealatofficial and no filters. So now they on YouTube, boy. So I'm telling you right now, get right, get real, understand what's really real. That's how they coming. You standing with fam? You standing with real ones? When you have a voice and you ain't scared of shit but God. See, I'm scared of God because he could just take my breath. See, man don't affect me because we bleed the same blood. It's just a difference in what hurts you that hurts me. But I don't fear man, I fear God. Because he can just get mad and just snap fingers and take my breath without even touching me. Without even making me bleed. He can just stop me now. So when we speak about man, I fear no man. I will never fear man. Because we all breathe and dwell with the same blood and oxygen we need. It's never been your lungs. It's always been the blood. Let me say that again for the people in the back. It's always been the blood that's kept your dumb ass, that's give you oxygen to breathe. It ain't your lungs. It's the blood. It's the oxygen in the blood. It's real. It's real. So I'm just telling you, when you become a member and you subscribe for real, you really becoming a family member that's really about to go through it. Because I take a stand, and I stand on business. And when you become a member and subscribe as a family member, you stand on business. And people don't like it. And they will come against you just like they come against me. So you understand it's real. You got to put on a no filters bulletproof. You got to put on a no filters bulletproof so they know don't play with you. Hit that like button and subscribe, fam. This is real. When I tell you to subscribe, it's real when I tell you hit that like button. It's real when I tell you become a member. Why? Because in that moment, you have a voice. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy, Dilla T, and my fam here at No Filters. Let's keep going.
Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally?
Got you. Scared?
It's being gutted from the inside out.
Smart
I don't know
boy.
what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real sin. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not. Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I can't speak for that.
Why is she
but
talking?
I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
Stupid ass girl, shut up. You know what? She should have been the last person talking about who she gonna meet halfway, dumbass. You was over there giving up girls, taking money for girls being raped. You better shut the hell up. And they're up there clapping. Somebody should have spit on her damn face. I would have did one of these. I'm talking about literally right on her damn forehead. Sitting up there letting their ass. You sitting up there letting people clap for your stupid ass, but you sat there and did them girls like that. Ain't nobody talking about the girls that you invited there and got all them $200 from. How long was you getting $200? How many girls was it? How long did it last? You became rich, but yet you got all this fucking mouth right now talking right now. Everybody back there should have slapped the skin off of her. I wish I knew her name, Lord. We'll cook her. We'll take a whole day just to cook her. If I knew her name, we'll take a whole day to cook her because the world need to know. She was in on it. You can't tell me that nobody should have not spoken up or nobody shouldn't have said nothing. You can't tell me that don't nobody know what nobody mom and daddy was. You can't tell me that she couldn't have told somebody about this instead of letting other girls be a victim of what she was a victim of. Whoever this girl is, I hate her for talking. And see, here at No Filters, we ask the questions that matter. We care about all of it. Why? Because again, when you ask the questions that matter and you don't get the answers, that tell you who is the victim. They tell you who is guilty. That tells you who was an accessory. That is exactly all I'm saying, skeptic. She was a part of the problem. I know she was. See, that's why my fam here, she like skeptic. She Skep, my fam. Skep been down, day one. See, she saying that same shit. That's what you gotta understand, fam. See, when you pull up in here, you need to know who you're talking to when you're talking. Somebody that feel how I feel because they've been what's going on here. We saying the same thing. She's not even an accessory. She should have got at least a year. She should have got something. And if she didn't know or was engaging, that means at some point she began to like it and she let other girls get involved with it. She should have did juvenile, probation, something. Because now she's trying to act like somebody put a gun to her head and said, you better make girls come over my house or you're going to die today. That is not what happened. This was through text message and calls. This is a person, a white man, Epstein, billionaire, telling you, if you don't do what I want you to do, because we never heard him threaten her like he gonna beat her up or kill her. All she said was that she was in fear for her life if he said, if you don't do what I want you to do, what? So this is how I know more and more, fam, that she was one of them that took, and it was, and I believe her. That's how stupid ass she is. I believe that she still chose to do what she did in the way she did it and thinking that that was a victim move. She thinks she's a victim. Let me say it again for the people in the back. This white woman thinks she's a victim. She thinks she's a victim because she all of a sudden, see, that's just like the Epstein lawyer. The Epstein lawyer engaged in getting massages by these young girls, was in the house with these young girls in a mansion. Even if he didn't get a massage, he was in the house and seeing these young girls. He's watching criminal activity. Never said shit, but he watching criminal activity. And then when it finally come out, he want to start saying and start singing, start snitching, start running his damn mouth, you stupid ass man. As if he was going to get a pass because he talking out about it 30 years later. 30 years later. 20 years later. The point I'm making is that the lawyer, he come out 20, 30 years later talking about the young stuff he was engaging in. So the point I'm making is why 30 years later? If you was an adult, if you were an adult that was of sound mind and understanding, why you come out 30 years later snitching or talking about it? That means you trying to save your ass from getting locked up. We know that. It don't take no rocket science for that. But this is the point that I'm making about this white girl that sat her and talking about she used other girls so she wouldn't be the victim. So she made them victims. And nobody's saying nothing. This is very serious. Hit that like button and subscribe, fam. We cooking for real.
Recently about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison. In the aftermath, we need to talk about
your transfer. I'm happy to speak to that. We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of polite and minimizing term, she also participated in abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she's painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting, and it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news.
It's real, smart boy. It's real.
1 minute, I think.
It's angles to it.
Anushka Giorgio.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit all on notification bells, family.
I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. Not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman.
You know what it is, Skip.
Abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was
Let me tell you something that's crazy, Skeptic. Tone, my family in here, friends. Let me tell you what's funny. That woman just said that she was abused for 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was the groomer, she says, and Epstein was the abuser. Again, where was your mama and your daddy? Auntie, uncles, grandpa, grandfather, cousins, sister, brothers. How could that have gone on that long and nobody knew nothing? Nobody got a sign of something? See, I don't try to make nothing about race at all. Black, white, Hispanic, whatever. The point I'm making is, fam, is that we all was raised differently. If you don't come from where I come from and your skin tone ain't my tone, you might not have you might, and I say might, because today, poverty don't have no skin color. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Please write this down, Tone. Poverty don't have no skin color, Skeptic. No, smart boy, get right in here today. Poverty don't have no skin color. So when we're talking about a white woman from England saying that she went through this for 10 years, it don't match with a black woman from the hood saying she went through this for 10 years. It don't match with a white woman that fought poverty, trailer park, for 10 years. Don't you homeless? Invited in, somebody's accepting it, or you are a part of a system. You said 10 years, and your mother and daddy is not around? Teresa in the building, you already know what it is, fam. Hit that like button, subscribe, it's real. That's what I'm saying. PHU. They might have threatened her family. They might have kept them out. They might have done a lot. It's a lot that happened. You got to understand, fam. So when we talking about, I just don't understand 10 years of just nobody knowing nothing. No adults, no nothing. I don't trust these women. I'm gonna be honest with you, fam. I don't trust none of them. You know, certain cases are different than others. But to be 10 years dealing with Jeffrey Epstein as a young child, that means you liked it at some point, probably, if you didn't tell your parents. And then I'm trying to think, how were you able to leave your parents' house or your house and be in the presence of a grown man that many times for 10 years? How were you able to do that for 10 years and you got whole ass parents and you 13, 14 years old? I'm only thinking that you're homeless and ran away from home and have nowhere to go. But if you in a sound mind, sound house, sound place of living, how are you doing this for 10 years? And your family don't know nothing? Nobody? This is the part, Teresa, that makes me think that Donald Trump is really like, it's a lie, it's stupid, it's dumb, it's a hoax, it's this. But the only reason I can't think in my right mind that Trump is lying is because it's just too much that's come out with him being around underage girls. That is the reason why I could never trust Trump in anything. Because he's just been around age girls for a long time. There's pictures, video, and voice recordings of him being around underage girls all the time. Not my fault, not yours either. But the point I'm making is, how do we sit back and say nothing about Trump videos with underage girls? So at the end of the day, people don't get to act like we tripping or we accuse things wrong or something is a hoax or anything. There's video, there's pictures, and there's video recordings of Trump with underage girls for a while. And it seems like that these women are the underage girls that was involved in the situation. And now they're grown and now they have a voice. James in the building, I appreciate you. Hit that like button, subscribe, family. We cooking in here, let's go.
Enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting, and it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
And just for the last survivor we just she said that Epstein would
I appreciate you, James. I'm with you, man. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m., family. Hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, hit all. I'm with you.
I did say that. My first trip to the Palm Beach residence, I drove there from the airport with Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag
forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
Hit that like button, subscribe, fam. We cooking.
So Lisa, what's your envision here?
We're reaching out to survivors that are
So
scared.
come on.
We're reaching out to survivors that are scared to come forward and that also know who they were trafficked to. So that's the list that we're compiling. We're not quite sure, how we're going to release that or even if we're going to.
Hit that like button, subscribe, fam. We cooking for real.
For folks at home, they might be confused. The survivors know the names. You've seen these powerful people. Why can't you say the names? Could you just explain?
Why do we have to say the names when the government knows the names? And we're also scared to do so. Look what's happened to so many of the survivors that have revealed names.
Just say you scared to do so because you worried about living. Don't say why we have to, why this. Clearly they're talking this press conference, but if they say names, it's gonna change it's gonna change some things. Queen Bay, appreciate you pulling up. Hit that like button, subscribe. It's love. We cooking.
That's what we're saying. I think between our firm and Boyce Schiller, hundreds of victims, and we talked to them about the various people that they were farmed out to. So we've created somewhat of a list. Most of these individuals, the victims, are very scared to say these names because they could get sued, they're going to get attacked, and nobody protected them the first time. One person. So is there a list? There is a list, but just to dispel kind of the common theme here, every one of these women was abused by Jeffrey Epstein, and his scheme was to personally abuse women. When they reached a certain age, he did farm a section of them, some of them, out to some of his friends. That doesn't mean all of his friends. With that said, I'm more than happy to assist in helping create the list behind the scenes and see what we do with it. Go ahead.
I think if someone's interested in prosecuting, they may have something different to say about sharing a list, but they're not sharing a list for nothing to happen, and that's the experience that they've had for all of these years.
We're waiting to see the fate of this discharge petition right now.
That's real smart, boy.
The speaker and others have said that.
That's real, Teresa. They is scared. Hit that like button, subscribe, Teresa. They scared, for real.
And some people I talked to today are not signing the discharge petition because they say you don't want them to. Can you clarify about that?
Do any of the survivors here not want to build the house?
First of all, our legislation, Rokan and I went through this, we talked about this, and we were very careful to make sure that there is an exception so that personally identifiable information, not just their names, but anything they can be identified by, would not be disclosed.
And can you speak to that as survivors of stop?
I think all of them are on the same page. They want everything released. Yeah, unequivocally redact personally identifying information and release everything else. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Maria, you've stayed silent for so many years. Today, this is the first time you understand correctly. You have never before gone public and to share this. Can you help us understand why today, why now, and why here?
Well, it is not okay for us to be silenced, and it's not okay for Jeffrey Epstein and everybody else to be put on a pedestal. I think everybody needs to hear from us because we know what went on, right? And there's not only me who's been silenced, there are hundreds of women that are silenced. My hope is to stop this abuse for the future, right? For people that are coming up, for women. My daughter, for example, these women have daughters. I think most definitely don't want that anymore. And I think mainly this is therapy for all of us too. We want to be heard. Nobody also has never asked me to speak. That's also another thing. So I can say for all of us here, we are here, we want this bill to pass, it is very important. Okay, and we need transparency. We are tired of looking at the news and seeing Jeffrey Epstein's name and saying that this is a hoax. We are tired of it. We are done. We're not going to be silenced, and I hope that my voice will bring other survivors and other victims to come along and speak up so that we can be more of a stronger voice and louder.
And so what is your message to President Trump?
Listen, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. Yeah, just pass the vote, listen to us. This is not a hoax. Like, it's not going to go away. And like I said on my speech earlier, we're not going to be silenced anymore. We will be speaking moving forward wherever we need to be. We will be, and we need to pass this.
Go ahead. Thank you, sir. Jordan Conrad from Gateway Pundit. You know, for years we've heard that there's an Epstein plan in this, or some kind of list. Now we hear from a bunch of girl victims. What do you guys think? I know you're working on your own list. That Jeffrey Epstein had a list.
Yeah, so there's not a list. So here's what, just like you heard everybody today, Jeffrey Epstein created through an organization that of enablers, of people that were on his
Understand
payroll.
something, fam? It's not that simple, small boy. It's not necessarily that if they don't have nothing to hide, then they have nothing to worry about. No, that ain't that simple, family. You gotta understand something. If we always felt like they had nothing to hide or worry about, then we would think that they do have something to hide and worry about. But even knowing that they do have something to hide and worry about, that's still not no pressure to make anyone release anything. It's the President of the United States. This is the man chosen to bring in New World Order. You will not sit back and say or act as if they don't have nothing to hide, then they can speak up. We all know they do have a lot to hide. There's 1,000 pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell, the groomed woman, that's locked up. There is a many of things that has been done corruptly to make sure that they keep those things behind closed doors. So the point I'm making is that this is some movie shit, but the movies get it from real life. And we've never heard real life look like a movie. Let me say that again. This is movie shit, and they think that this is real life, but we've never seen or heard real life look like a movie that we're watching. You ain't never seen real life look like Avengers. Let me say that again for the people in the back. You ain't seen real life look like Avengers 1, 2, 3, 4. Or the Endgame. You ain't never seen that in real life. Yeah, I said it right. You ain't never seen that. You can look at the movies, and you know what's funny? Movies are setting us up so we be okay when we do see it, because they really want to usher this type of stuff in. I just want you to know that these are the things that they're doing right in our face, Skeptic. Tone, this is what they doing in our face. Smart boy, this is what they doing in our face. Teresa, this is what they doing in our face. They want to give you them. You ain't never seen Infinity War in your eyes, real life. Could you imagine that? Looking at Avengers, Infinity War in your face? Or even the Endgame in your face. So when we talk about what they're trying to adjust and create and get us ready for, that is a real thing. Because yet they can sit here and do these women like this. See pictures of them having fun with these women when they was young girls. And still deny it, lie about it, and carry us on as if it's nothing. Woo! That's the world we living in, fam. And I feel sorry, and I don't feel hopeless and helpless because I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I believe myself. That's just me. I've always believed there's power in one name that moves the earth and it matters. That's my belief. That's me. That's just me. But when I say woo, if they can do it to these people and lie about it even after the pictures, the talking, and everything, they don't care what you think or me. And that's the world we living in. We're living in a world where the good is looked at as bad and the bad is looked at as good. And justice is not measured on right or wrong. It's measured on who you know. We say that again for the people in the back. Justice is not met on right or wrong. It's measured on who you know. That is today. That is what's happening. That is the reality we live in. You better tell somebody today and tomorrow. Justice is not measured on right or wrong. It's measured on who you know. And that is sad. Because you and me waking up in this world tomorrow, and we got to deal with this. But I thank God for Jesus that we've came across a channel that matters about how we live today for our kids tomorrow. Because always, as always, your boy, Dealatofficial, and my family needing to know how you feel in the comments. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Don't matter what's going on. We heard. I appreciate my family, each and every one of y'all. As always, it's your boy Dealatofficial and my family. Here is no filters. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I love you. Be safe and good night, family.